Welcome to AI World TV, your go-to destination for everything artificial intelligence. Discover the captivating landscape of AI, where advanced technology finds real-life application. Subscribe to AI World TV for webzine articles, reports, podcasts, videos, live events, and latest trends. Hear from top industry leaders and discover how AI is transforming industries and our daily lives.
Okay, picture this. A robot, not just one stuck behind a cage welding car parts, but one that actually walks around, grabs things, interacts in our spaces.
Yeah, for the longest time, that was pure sci-fi, right? Stuff you'd only see in the movies.
Totally. But the sources you shared, they paint a really different picture now. Humanoid robots actually stepping out of those stories and, well, into the real world at huge companies like Tesla and Amazon.
Exactly. It's that jump from the lab prototype to, well, maybe not full employees yet, but definitely workers being tested in actual operational settings.
So that's our mission for this deep dive then. Let's use these sources, unpack what these humanoid robots really are, figure out why companies are building them to look like us, see what Tesla and Amazon are actually doing with them, and, touch on what this all means. Let's dig into what the material says is important here.
Okay, sounds good. So first off, what is a humanoid robot based on the sources? Basically, it's a robot that's engineered specifically to mimic the human body.
In its shape and how it moves.
Yeah, both form and function. The whole idea is they can navigate environments that were built for people.
Like normal buildings.
Exactly. Think about standard doorways, stairs, using tools that have handles designed for us, moving down aisles sized for humans, that kind of thing.
And the sources mention they often look kind of human too. Faces, arms, legs moving like ours.
That's right. And the materialist sort of breaks them down into two main types, based mostly on how they get around. You've got bipeds first.
They walk on two legs.
Yep. Examples mentioned are Boston Dynamics Atlas, you've probably seen videos of that one, and Tesla's Optimus.
Okay, that makes sense for getting around human spaces. What's the other kind?
The other main category noted is torso-based robots. So these usually have like the upper body, head, arms, but instead of legs, they might be mounted somewhere, or maybe on wheels.
Ah, okay.
Hanson Robotics Sophia is the example given there, known for being pretty expressive.
Right, so we know what they are. But the big question is why? Why make them look like us? It seems like it would be, harder than just building a specialized machine.
Well, it's interesting. The sources really highlight the practical reason first. Our world, our homes, workplaces, cities, it's all built around the human form factor.
So making robots that fit that form just makes sense.
Precisely. They can slot into existing spaces and use existing tools without needing massively expensive overhauls of the environment. It's about leveraging what's already there.
Okay, that's logical.
And because of that, the potential applications mentioned are pretty broad things like healthcare, working in hotels or restaurants, helping the elderly, or even going into dangerous spots like disaster zones where it's not safe for people.
The material also mentioned something else, though, didn't it? Something about, a human connection.
Yeah, that's a fascinating angle. The sources suggest that people, we seem to naturally feel more comfortable, maybe even empathize a bit, with machines that have some human-like features.
Huh.
It could make interactions feel smoother, maybe build a bit more trust. And that seems to be why some companies mention, like Agility Robotics, Sanctuary AI, Figure AI, are getting attention and investment. They're really leaning into creating these more lifelike, relatable machines. It taps into our psychology,
Okay, so practical reasons fitting into our world and maybe this psychological element too. But let's get concrete. Who's actually doing this now? How are Tesla and Amazon putting these things to work?
Right. This is where the sources say things are really shifting. It's moving beyond just talk and concepts. Humanoid robots are kind of literally clocking in now.
And what's driving that shift, according to the sources? Just curiosity, or is there more?
The material points to some pretty strong real-world pressures. Things like labor shortages happening globally, plus the rising costs of doing business. That's pushing companies to look hard at automation that can fit into their current setups.
Okay, let's break down Tesla first. Sources say Optimus is being tested quietly in the factory.
That's the picture painted, yes. And a really key detail highlighted is that there are at least 2 units already doing real tasks and doing them autonomously.
Wow, okay, not just demos.
Exactly. Now, the sources don't specify which tasks exactly, but the fact they're operational and independent, that's presented as a big step.
And Elon Musk's comments on Optimus. The sources mentioned something pretty bold there.
Oh yeah, he's quoted suggesting Optimus could ultimately be more valuable than the car business itself, which is quite a statement.
That definitely signals huge ambition.
Absolutely. It shows the massive potential he sees, far beyond just the factory floor. But for now, the sources indicate Optimus is focused on those repetitive, maybe dangerous, or just plain tedious jobs, the kind human workers often don't want. Proving itself in that environment seems to be the current goal.
Okay, so Tesla's building its own. But Amazon's approach is different, right? According to the material.
Yeah, they seem to have this kind of two-pronged strategy going. They're apparently developing the AI, the software brain, in-house. But for the physical robot bodies, they're partnering up with robotics firms.
The future of artificial intelligence is unfolding, and it's happening at AI World Week, the flagship global event for innovation, collaboration, and transformation. This flagship global AI event is designed to connect visionary leaders, trailblazing entrepreneurs, and influential thinkers to explore the endless possibilities of AI. Experience groundbreaking technology that redefines industries and inspires progress. Join thought-provoking discussions on ethical AI, digital equity, and the transformative role of technology in our world. Build meaningful connections that catalyze innovation and drive impact. AI World Week is powered by AI World Society, a global movement dedicated to advancing AI responsibly and ensuring it serves humanity. Together, we're shaping a smarter, more inclusive, and equitable future. Continue your journey beyond the event with the AI World Journal, offering expert insights, in-depth analysis, and the latest trends shaping the AI landscape. This is your opportunity to lead, to innovate, and to transform the world with AI. AI World Week. We invite you to join us and embrace the AI revolution.
Specifically mentioned Agility Robotics and their robot Digit.
Correct. Digit is the one being tested in Amazon warehouses right now. The description suggests it can walk, it can grasp things, navigate those narrow warehouse aisles, basically, mimicking what a human worker does there.
And they even built a special place to test them, a humanoid park.
Yes, that's mentioned. A dedicated indoor facility designed specifically for training these robots. They simulate tasks like picking packages, loading vans, unloading them, getting them ready for real logistics work.
And the ambition goes beyond the warehouse, too, based on the sources.
Apparently so. A future goal that gets noted is using humanoid robots for the final stage of delivery, working with electric vans, actually walking packages up to your front door.
Okay, let's step back from Tesla and Amazon for a second. Thinking bigger picture, why does this matter to, you listening? It feels like more than just these two companies testing robots.
It really does. The sources suggest we should see this as more than just deploying new tools. It's like they're experimenting with the foundations of a whole new way of working, a new industrial paradigm almost.
A new paradigm. How so?
Well, the potential future described is one where humans and machines are working much more closely together. Or, alternatively, maybe the robots just completely take over those jobs, often called the dirty, dangerous, or dull. What Tesla and Amazon are doing now are framed as concrete steps towards that kind of future.
It really does feel like, as the material suggests, a turning point. Robots moving out of the lab into the economy proper.
And that move, as the sources point out, naturally raises some pretty big questions. How is widespread automation, especially using these human-like forms, going to reshape the job market?
Yeah, and who's responsible for retraining people if their jobs change?
Exactly. And how do we make sure these machines are, safe and operate ethically?
Huge questions. But the sources seem to say that Tesla and Amazon aren't exactly waiting around for all the answers before they move ahead.
No, it seems they're pushing forward, building this future now, learning as they go, one robot deployment at a time.
Which brings us, inevitably, to the big question probably on a lot of minds. Are these robots going to take my job?
Yeah, that's definitely a central theme the material dives into. And the consensus view presented, at least for the near term, is probably not immediate mass replacement. It's more likely they'll augment human work first.
Working alongside people.
Right. Helping out, maybe boosting productivity, partly because, let's be honest, the sources describe current humanoid robots as still being kind of clumsy, pretty slow, and very expensive compared to a human worker.
But that's the near-term view. What about longer term?
Well, that's where the prediction shifts. The sources indicate that many believe, especially with AI improving so fast, that within maybe a decade or so, robots will likely take over a lot of physical jobs.
Especially in certain places.
Yes, particularly noted are societies dealing with aging populations and labor shortages. Think Japan, South Korea, parts of Europe. The demographics there could really accelerate robot adoption for physical tasks.
And this loops back to those ethical points we touched on, which the sources also dig into. The impact on workers is obviously huge.
It's a major concern highlighted, yes. The potential for job displacement raises serious questions about retraining, social safety nets, how society adapts. But beyond jobs, the sources also bring up more philosophical stuff.
Like what?
Like, can we form real emotional bonds with machines that look and act like us? Should these advanced robots have any kind of rights? These aren't easy questions, and humanoid robots really force us to grapple with them.
Which connects to that deeper idea the sources mentioned, this concept of human-AI symbiosis.
Yeah, this was quite profound. The idea that humanoid robots aren't just tools, but they're actually mirrors.
Mirrors, I mean.
Well, the act of trying to build something in our own image, it forces us to really think about what makes us human in the first place.
Right, like is it our body, our thoughts, our feelings, what defines us?
Exactly. If machines start replicating things we thought were uniquely human movement, complex thinking, interaction, the sources suggest it makes us reflect deeply on our own identity. What, if anything, truly separates us?
That's a heavy thought. And the sources even float the idea that these robots might one day be walking alongside us, not just as helpers, but maybe as a whole new kind of life form.
It's a very forward-looking perspective, and the final thought offered in the material is pretty clear. Whether that future feels amazing or terrifying, well, that really depends on the choices we make now, how we decide to develop and integrate this technology. And companies like Tesla and Amazon are making some of those foundational choices right now.
Wow. Okay, so that brings us pretty much to the end of this deep dive. We started thinking about sci-fi robots, and we've walked through what they are, why they're human-shaped, how giants like Tesla and Amazon are actually using them today, and landed on some really profound questions about work, society, and what it means to be human.
Yeah, hopefully this discussion, sticking closely to the sources you provided, has helped cut through some of the hype and giving you a clearer picture of where things stand and where they might be heading in this really fast-moving field.
Definitely. So to leave you with something to chew on, the sources mentioned household chores as a potential future application. Now, given where these robots are now still a bit clumsy, remember, but thinking about their potential, what's the very first specific boring task in your own home you'd give a humanoid robot if one showed up tomorrow? And maybe more interestingly, what does that choice say about the chores you personally value the least? Something to think about.
You are listening to the AI World Podcast, your trusted source for the latest innovations, insights, and trends in artificial intelligence, blockchain, fintech, and decentralized technologies. Each episode features expert interviews, engaging discussions, and in-depth analysis of how AI transforms industries worldwide. Stay ahead of the curve with the latest articles and exclusive reports from the AI World Journal, covering everything from emerging technologies to industry breakthroughs. For more news, global events, and access to AI World Society circle gatherings, visit us at aiworld.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed, stay connected, and be part of the AI revolution with AI World Lounge. Thank you for listening.